Today I'm talking about forgiveness and mindfulness, and how being mindful and coming to being present in the moment is really helpful to be able to forgive other people and forgive events and experiences you've had in your life so you can move forward. And let's remember that forgiveness does not have to involve you walking up to the person, looking them in the eye and saying, "I forgive you." That's very rarely the case. More often the case is you being able to write on a piece of paper, "I forgive you, John. I forgive John for what happened," or having your own ownership over the forgiveness. It's to say that I forgive. You offer the energy of forgiveness. It's not something that's not a transaction where you walk up to someone and say, "Here's my forgiveness," and they go and they accept it. The acceptance is not involved in forgiveness at all. Forgiveness is a sense of letting go, of releasing, of not being bound by that story of that incident or episode or experience. And it's saying that you will no longer carry the burden of that experience or that episode, like that could have held you back. So it's been a big thing to say people hold things back for so long with the idea of forgiveness because they hold a hatred or a want to get vengeance or a desire to get even, or they want to badmouth the person or trash them at any opportunity. So you walk around prepared to go, "Oh, but they're a bastard, they're an arsehole," like that. And you've almost rehearsed what you're going to say in your mind about that person in advance. So you're saying you're on guard, like it's like you're a crouching tiger in the bushes waiting to go, "And they're a bastard too," like that. And it takes up a lot of energy and a lot of your brain power to have that, to have a cocked gun, loaded, ready to fire at that person. It's far simpler and more creative to forgive them and let it all go. And then if they do come up in conversation or in an event, you go, being triggered is something to use your mindfulness for, to say, "Oh, it didn't trigger me so much because I've forgiven them." And when you might be expected to be triggered, you'll go, "Oh well, I'm moving forward. That experience was, I don't accept that experience, but I have forgiven them and I'm not carrying that burden with me anymore." One of the exercises with to feel unforgiveness is to compare it to a weight, and it's where the unforgiveness is towards, whether it's towards someone else or towards yourself, to get a physical understanding, because it's all emotional and psychological. It's sometimes really beneficial to get physical, get in the body. That's part of the mind-body-calm continuum, to say, instead of just reading something and getting it through the mind, to actually get it through the body. So what was suggested was to hold your arms out straight from your chest, like at 90 degrees to your body. So they're parallel with each other, like how a zombie walks, with your arms out. Then turn your palms towards the sky. Oh, I'm doing it now. And just hold your hands like that. And you're staring at a clock at the second hand, and watch as the second hand moves around the dial, how you feel the weight. And the weight is your burden, the burden of your condemnation of yourself or of the other person, or the extent of your non-forgiveness. So holding it now, you can feel it and you go, "Oh yeah, I can feel it." So when we're holding this non-forgiveness, what we bring our mindfulness to is the idea of what else we could be doing with our arms, how productive we could be, how helpful we could be, how we could be hugging someone, for example, or holding someone's hand or cuddling someone, compared to us standing here guess what? For not much reason or not much payoff, is it? Holding this unforgiveness burden in front of us. So if we can let go of the self-blame and the shame and the self-condemnation, look, I'm moving my hands down now. I feel the lightness come to my shoulders and the tingling in my fingers, and I'm actually free to do things, okay? So that's what forgiveness is in a physical sense, and it's so powerful just to bring that physicality to you. So when you drift into rumination, when you're not being mindful, and when you do go, you slip and you get back into some self-talk about how you're done wrong, or you're cheated, or you've missed out at some previous experience, stretch your arms out in front of you, take a deep breath and hold that, and just be with it, be in it, be in that injustice and that struggle and that suffering and that event and experience. And then when you've had enough, when you've felt it, release it and forgive yourself and forgive the event and the moment and the person, and physically forgive them and move on, and feel your arms and your neck and your shoulders loosen up. So you feel the relief physically, really powerful. Just an exercise to do, and it's like some people have a rubber band to snap on their wrist to say, oh, stop doing it, stop doing it. So physically holding your burden of non-forgiveness in that sense with your outstretched arms, and again use the zombie model, how zombies thoughtlessly are walking around, okay? Now, another thing with forgiveness is the idea of slipping into rumination, or the act of obsessing over negative thoughts and images, okay? And this is at the base of many anxiety episodes, is being tired or being vulnerable or being stressed and slipping into a rumination where you go, that's right, they always used to do that, I never get this, dun, dun, dun. And you slip into this rumination, and being aware of how your thoughts affect how you feel, and your thoughts inform on your emotions, and then they come to impact on your physical health, okay? So you really can feel it. And this is where forgiveness is just as powerful, to be able to say, wait a minute, I'm going to take a pause here, I'm going to check what I'm ruminating on. And there's like 4 or 5 different things you can reflect here, just to make it less likely you'll ruminate and less likely you'll get into that toxic pattern of just going over and over things. One of them is when you discount your own progress. So let's say you're on you're maintaining your exercise, your commitment, your fitness, but then you get an injury and you've been told to rest for like 4 weeks, which is a long time. And so you're not exercising for a while, for 16 days now, you're halfway through, you're resting up, you feel good, you can do it, but you know you shouldn't because you might re-injure it and take even longer. So what happens is you can discount your progress. So that's actually good news, you're halfway through, but you can go, oh, I've got another, and you can frame it in such a way that it's like you haven't made any progress, it's like you haven't come very far, and it looks all uphill. That's one way. Another way is to just repeat the same line and get stuck in a rut, literally, where you say, and the example can be, I'm never going to be a good runner, I'm never going to be a good runner, I was never a good runner, I'm not a real runner, as if I could ever be a runner, as if I could ever be a runner, I was never good at running. So you slip into that and you just repeat it over and over again, and again that can be literally, I hate to say it, but you need to slap yourself in the face and say stop, and just speak out loud. Turn your inner voice into an out loud voice. Another one can be when you question and doubt things that are true, and you create uncertainty, and you can really wobble with your self-belief by doing this, by going, well, maybe I shouldn't go on the weekend, maybe I should cancel that appointment, maybe I won't do that workshop. Like, you can start doing that, and you start changing your calendar and things, and it's just not necessary. You should just roll forward. So again, be notice of that. Another one is catastrophizing. I'm probably familiar with, is when you overblow the negative consequences. So for sure, you had only one person turned up, and that wasn't ideal, but it's not like the end of the world, is it? It's not like you have to sell everything and pack up and go and live under a bridge. It's having perspective and not catastrophizing. That's really powerful with rumination. And the final one, which again you might have heard of before, is black and white thinking or dichotomous reasoning, where you cut things into things are either amazing or absolutely crap. There's no spectrum. Remember, there's always a spectrum, and things can go upward, up and down a peg, or up and down on the spectrum, left or right, or up and down constantly, and it wavers literally like a dial, like you up and down, up and down. It's never minus 100 or plus 100. It's always in flux. So that's the final thing I wanted to say with forgiveness. Was it's not something you go, oh yeah, I've forgiven, yeah, I've moved on. Yep. It's not that. It will flare up again, and you'll feel you have to go through the whole process again, and that's part of it as well. So forgiveness is an organic, living experience that you will carry with you for the rest of your life. So become comfortable with it and come home to it, and know it's part of what you do. My name's Bren Murphy at brenmurphy.net. I also do mindfulness at mindbodycalm.com.au. Thanks a lot.